What's up, guys? I'm gonna be entirely transparent in the fact that I am sick. So if you hear me coughing or sniffling or whatever, fortunately, I can't transmit a cold across a podcast. So, uh, Derrick, Shawn, how are you guys doing today?
All good. Good
Yeah,
Yeah,
here. Very excited to talk about Eternity. It's a really good movie and one that I think more people should be seeing. So I'm
you
excited to
would
talk about it.
think,
Hopefully get on
right?
people's radars.
Do you know? I mean, look, so we talked about Wicked last week, and I'm happy that that movie's making money. I'm happy that people are seeing it, but I am so disappointed that Eternity is entirely overshadowed by Wicked. I went to a screening at my local Regal Theater on Tuesday, and I think it was me, my husband, and like maybe two other people in this theater, and I'm just like, can the Wicked screens break so that everybody can come see? Like this whole theater is entirely sleeping on this movie, and they really shouldn't. It's such a shame, but yeah.
yeah, no, I totally agree, man. This movie, I'm doing great. Haven't choked on a pretzel yet, so that's good.
Good for you. Well done.
Yeah, still making it through. Listen, I don't like rom-coms at all. They're just not my cup of tea. I can count on one hand how many I actually like, and that's across the entire genre. It's a very, very limited group of films that I actually enjoy in the rom-com genre. They just don't do things for me. This movie shattered me into a million pieces and melted my frozen rom-com hating heart. And I don't know how, I don't know why, but this just left me in an absolute puddle, and I'm ready to talk about it. I think Thomas and we saw it together,
We
right?
did, yes.
We saw it together, and we both left, and we're both like wiping away tears, just grown ass men walking down the streets of Toronto, wiping away our tears. And not only were we like that, but both of us called our significant others
Oh,
just to tell them that we loved them, because that's what this movie did to us.
That is exactly the effect this movie has. It's so, at least for me, it was so endearing, and I think there's a lot about it that I just like just internally connected with when it comes to like, love and life and, commitments. There's so many interesting themes here that I just don't think love triangles can fully flesh out in the way that this movie did because of the scenario that it sets up. So yeah, that's entirely true. Shawn, did you also see this at TIFF?
I did. I did.
Yeah.
I saw one of the later screenings. I didn't have anyone to call after, but that's okay. But I completely agree that this movie really does make you appreciate your loved ones in your life and that we're not going to be here forever. So we just have to appreciate what we have, who we're with, and just enjoy what we have in the moment because it could be
Mhm.
gone just like that. It's a
That's
it's a
true.
beautiful message.
And
And I
and
think
and
that
then and then you'll have to be in the afterlife trying to choose between one person you love and another person you love.
yeah,
It is, I will. Some have kind of said like, oh, I like this better when The Notebook did it. I think The Notebook is trash. That's just me.
oof,
Um,
hot take, man.
look, I'm telling you, the rom com romance genre is
Not
just
for you.
not for me, and The Notebook is not on that list of five. Um, but to your point, Shawn, there's such a life affirming message to this movie, which is kind of strange because it all basically takes place in the afterlife after death. But it really is a movie about enjoying the small things and enjoying the small things in life with the people that matter the most. And rather than kind of chasing the regrets and chasing the what could have been, this movie is so much about appreciating what you actually have, appreciating the life that you actually got to live and how vital that is to us. And when we look back, instead of looking back with regrets and wishing that we did things differently, yeah, actually, the people that we love are the people that we should want to spend eternity with. And I don't know, it's just so beautiful that
Yeah.
that's how it ended. And you can talk all you want about the predictability of it all, and
Mhm.
that's fine. Like it's still very much a rom com. So it's clearly going to operate with all of those confines and those same genre tropes. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This movie just did it for me. It
Mhm.
just did.
It did. So I took, like I said, I took my husband to go see it. And afterward, we were in the car driving home, and we kind of started because he was talking about how predictable it was, and I was like, "Yeah, it's predictable, but it's really good." And he's like, "Yeah, I liked it." And we were just kind of going back and forth, and we kind of stopped for a moment. It's like, so are there pretzels here? Can we avoid pretzels so that this doesn't turn into an eternity situation? But yeah, like I think that all speaks to the organicness of this movie, where like, yeah, being in a long-term relationship, you have those little, those little bickering in the car, just kind of like, that's just a part of like being with who you love and being comfortable with the one you love. And so yeah, just kind of having that little, having the little car arguments, and it reminds us of this movie. And I think that this movie really is going to imprint itself on our lives for a very long time, just because that's how well it organically represents long-term relationships.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
let's start with this. So Derek, you've already expressed your opinion about the rom-com genre. I want to get a little bit more on that, but Shawn, let's go to you. What's your feelings on rom-coms?
I really enjoy rom-coms. Yes, they are very predictable, but I think there's a comfortability in that, and that's why I think there's such a beloved genre that a lot of the general audiences love, because it is predictable. You don't need to think too hard about it, and it's something very relatable. Love is probably the most relatable emotion in human history. Like, it's something everyone can relate to certain degrees, and I guess just seeing it portrayed on screen just really keeps you invested, and makes you care about the characters more, care about the story, and there's likability to that. You want to see people be happy, be loved, because it's one of the biggest joys in life. I think we can all agree on that. So for me, yes, there's, like I said, there's a predictability to it that, I know this is going to happen. There are moments like that in eternity that we'll discuss about, but if you just take that out of it and just enjoy it for what it is, because these movies indulge in what it is, which is a rom-com, a predictable rom-com, you just have fun with it.
Derek, you want to elaborate a little bit more on rom-coms?
Yeah, I want everybody to be miserable. This is ridiculous. What are we doing? I want to spread misery into the world. No, there is a predictability about it, and I think that's a really unfair criticism. It's not a reason I don't appreciate rom-coms, because all genres are predictable. If you're operating within those genre confines, right? If you're making a coming of age story, then yeah, you're trapped by the tropes of coming of age, and some do it better than others, right? If you're doing an action adventure, I mean, we just talked about it with Predator Badlands,
Mm-hmm.
that essentially just gives it the hero's journey Marvel movie with a Predator skin. So predictability is just baked into genre trope. It's just baked into genres. That's how it operates. So there's something about the rom-com predictability that just forces me to not suspend belief or suspend disbelief, as well as some other things. I can buy most dystopian futures. I don't know why I just can't buy into simple love and the silly people doing the Lady and the Tramp, eating a spaghetti string together, and suddenly they love each other forever. So I think it's a lot of things that I just can't get over that just make it so ridiculous. And I think the romanticizing of situations that, frankly, in the real world, you would never want to hang out with any of these people ever. And the decisions that a lot of these people make are always the wrong ones, and we're asked to celebrate that. So I think a lot of, and I know, listen, I'm sorry that every time I have a hot take, it just dwindles down our fan base more and more, but I'm going to go after her because she's one of the most egregious offenders of the things I don't like. But J-Lo has a lot of these where, like,
yeah.
J-Lo is the villain in most of her romantic comedies, and we're all just supposed to be like, no, this is the right choice, and it's like, no, you're a goddamn homewrecker. Stop it.
That is fair.
So those are some reasons that I tend to just not like this genre a lot, and I know those are really silly things to get hung up on, and again, you can do this with any genre that you want. It doesn't matter what genre. You can do it with drama, and you can just eviscerate drama the exact same way I just did with rom-com. You absolutely can. It is just something that never clicks with me. So when it does, I'm always just super shocked and really surprised that something like that would do it. So
Yeah, I'm kind of in between you two. But it's interesting because I'm looking through a list of rom-coms and I'm realizing like it's not that I hate them, although maybe I do subconsciously. I think I just don't gravitate to them. They're just not movies that I feel compelled to watch. And maybe predictability, that subjective application of my disdain for predictability has a little bit to do with that. The one rom-com that really stands out as like an example of like you can build unpredictability into the rom-com genre is Crazy Stupid Love.
I was thinking
Yeah,
that. I'm
that's
so happy
yep,
you said that.
yep.
Yeah.
That is on my list of 5, by the
That is
way.
a fantastic movie.
It is incredible. It just really shows you can give really good storytelling and an unpredictable element to the rom-com genre. It is possible. So that's kind of ruined it for every other rom-com that thinks that predictability is the only way to go.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I just haven't seen the majority of these, and the ones that I have seen, I don't think about at all. Maybe 500 Days of Summer is the other one
That's a good
See,
that stands out to me.
that's another one. So
Mhm.
not to veer off too
No,
much
go for it.
or veer off too far, but I think things like Crazy Stupid Love, 500 Days of Summer, they are much more like love dramas than they are like
Mhm.
straight up rom-coms,
That's
right?
true.
Like
Mhm.
again, hammering on J-Lo. J-Lo couldn't be like she can't do 500 Days of Summer.
No.
Just
Right.
she's got a range and she's very good in the range that she operates in, but 500 Days of Summer is not something that she could pull off. It's not a movie that I think she would do well in. I actually don't even think she'd do well in something like Crazy Stupid Love, which is a little bit more rom-commy than 500 Days of Summer, but she's just the wrong fit for that. She would just not do well in those types of things, and so I think those border a little bit more on the drama than the rom
Mhm.
com. But
Mhm.
yeah,
That is actually an interesting point because I think when it comes to rom-com, so many of these movies lean so heavily into the romantic side of it, and I don't know if I'm just like out of tune or very not very much attractive to the comedic side that they do offer. So I don't know. I'm very mixed on the genre, and I guess until I see more, I can't deduce like an actual consensus about the genre, but I'm just not compelled to. So that's where a movie like Eternity comes in, and it is rom-com, like it is romantic, it's comedic, it is dramatic, but I think it balances all of those components of genre very well. And yeah, it is predictable. That's true. In fact, my husband called the ending before like halfway through the movie. Like he already knew what was going to happen. He
yeah,
literally
of
leaned
course,
over and said, "This is what's going to happen."
of
Um,
course.
and I'm like, "You don't know that," but of course he knows that, but I think the ultimate point that I want to get to here is that I think even with the predictability, there is kind of a comfort in that for people. There's a lot of audiences that really want to know what they're getting into when they go into a movie, right? They want to have a general idea of what this is going to be and how they're going to feel and what they're going to experience. And so I'm not that audience. I prefer to go in as blind as possible and to just go with the experience. But my husband is a part of that audience, and I think a lot of people are. And I think that that's where the romance genre in general. I mean, Hallmark movies exist for a reason, right? Like they satisfy this need for comfortable entertainment in a way that a lot of people gravitate to. Not me, um, but um, but there is that. And so I think that that's why this genre tends to stick with very predictable kind of formats. But there are creative things you can do with it, and honestly, if the comedy gets me, you can be as predictable as you want.
Yeah,
And I think that's the case here with Eternity. The comedy absolutely got me. I was not expecting this movie to be as funny as it was.
yeah. I like that point though. The a lot of the rom coms that I tend to enjoy, one they lean a little bit more into the drama,
Mhm.
but if they don't, so I'm thinking of something like Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Mhm.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall is a rom com. Like
Mhm.
it's by nature that's essentially what it
Good
is
one.
in its bare bones. But I understand it's problematic. I was just thinking about Get Him to the Greek the other day, where I was like, God, that movie just is aged like sour milk. Jesus Christ, it's hilarious, but there's not a single good person in that entire movie. Every single one of them are people you should not spend money on ever. But So ones that what I found is ones that tend to lean into that comedy aspect more overshadow some of the romance things that have me just kind of rolling my eyes and allow me to kind of forgive some of that predictability. I think of something like The Princess Bride, which is like it's technically a rom-com, but it's a little bit more like adventure, love adventure. There's action, there's drama, there's all those different kinds of things. But that movie is incredibly funny. It's one of the most quotable movies out there. And I do think the comedy is where things kind of turn the tide for me when it comes to rom-coms. Eternity is definitely one of those. But shout out to Divine Joy Randolph. One big takeaway, and then I'll shut up. But one big takeaway I got from this is Divine. She just needs to be in everything. I don't know why she's not in absolutely every movie. Like, just she doesn't even the movie doesn't even need put her in Predator Badlands. Like, just do it. Give it to me.
I love her and John Early. I really love their banter. I really do. They were great, both of them.
They're so good. Yeah, that woman.
What's interesting? My husband, he said this in the middle of the movie, and I couldn't unsee it, but he's like, she's kind of giving Queen Latifah here. And I'm like, yes, she is. And I watched the rest of the movie thinking, yeah, Queen Latifah in her comedy age, like, would have totally, what she would have done. And yeah, it's absolutely like bringing that comedy, bringing that energy, and just delivering on so much entertainment in this movie. So like, yeah, that was an interesting observation from my husband. But did you want to say anything else, Shawn, about genre or romance versus comedy and how that plays out in these movies?
No. Well, I guess there's just one thing that kind of just echoes what we've been saying, but this might come off as I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm looking down on people, because I'm not, but I just think that there are just a lot of people that just don't want to be thinking when they're watching movies. So when they know what's going to happen, these characters, they like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's why us who watch movies and really analyze them, theorize about them, and criticize them, these type of movies aren't always for us, and that's completely fine. But I think in art in general, I think a lot of the popular stuff is stuff that does not have a lot of depth. And I hope that's okay to say, because that's just how I look at it. I don't think there's anything wrong. I think if people find what works for them and they just indulge in that, that's completely fine. But I just think that's why rom-coms are just as popular as they are. I think that's the same with music, with TV, and again, with art in general. If it's something that you can just listen to watch, and just have it, that's enough for a lot of people. But for us, it's not. So I think that's why rom-coms may not, stick with us as much as the general public, I think.
Yeah, I do want to touch on that too, because I am a fan of comfort cinema, and I believe in comfort cinema. And there is definitely something very comforting about the rom-com genre for a lot of people. I know, Thomas, you had mentioned the Hallmark Channel. Like, it exists for a reason.
Yeah,
it does. Like, there's a reason there is an entire channel dedicated to playing the same movie for 24 hours every day until we all choke on a pretzel and end up in the afterlife. There is a reason that exists. But the other point I wanted to make to kind of just, and then I'll end it here, but with Shawn, is I'm always reminded of this quote, especially when we talk about how we watch movies, is Robert Ebert's quote of, "It's not what the movie is about, it's how it goes about it." And that, I think, is one of those things that separates Eternity from a lot of the other ones, where it doesn't matter that the movie is about a rom-com, and it functions just like a rom-com would from start to finish. It's incredibly predictable, but it's how it goes about utilizing those things, how it goes about being a rom-com, is much more important. And I think that Eternity is incredibly successful in how it goes about those things that it's trying to communicate.
I think you nailed that. It.
Well, I think it's interesting because on top of being a rom-com, this movie also treads into love triangle. Not treads into, it is a love triangle movie, which of course evokes, Celine Song. We had The Materialist earlier this year. I don't know if we consider Challengers. Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
Like past lives,
past lives. So it and I think that in doing the in doing the love triangle thing in this way. It like I love Celine Song. I love her movies. But this was something that I related with a lot more because I think in her other movies, it's, I think that there's a clear idea of who, the person in the middle of the love triangle should go with. It's pretty clear. With this one, it's not so clear. With this one, it's like, do you go with the person you built a life with, or do you go with the person you didn't have a chance to have a life with?
Yeah.
And you can't do that in the real world, right? I think it's harder to set that up in a way as believable as Eternity does it. And that's what I really love they say in the movie, it's an impossible choice. You're right, it is. Like, if you're put in that situation, what do you do? And I don't know, maybe after seeing it, this is a blueprint for anyone who has a first spouse that has died and now has a second spouse. Maybe you now have you have a blueprint on what to do when you get to the afterlife.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. It really is just three hot people trying to figure out what to do in eternity. Like,
for that, man.
Really...
What was me?
Yeah, right. Oh my God, my life is so hard as Elizabeth Olsen, one of the most stunning women to ever walk the face of the earth.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys, if you're listening, so far we've kept it pretty spoiler free, but we are going to jump into a spoiler conversation on this movie. There are spoilers. I mean, if you didn't predict it, there are spoilers. So yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. I mean, you give it a watch, give it a try. It is a great date night movie. And so absolutely give it a watch. So we're gonna jump into spoiler conversation now. Who else predicted the ending here? Did anyone else know how this was gonna end? Yeah, Derrick.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that I just suspended my prediction. I just because in my head, I'm like, all three of us are going to the same eternity and y'all just gonna have to deal with it. It's, that was my solution. But I also did think of the solution that I thought it was going to stick with was her just going and doing her own eternity, which it treads into. But that was, I would have tried to think outside the box, but I think how this movie goes about her choosing one and then going with the other was a satisfying way of eating your cake and having it too, in a way. So let's talk about the premise and how everything plays out. Derrick, as the person who dislikes rom-coms but enjoyed this one, let's start with you on this part.
Yeah, so one strength I think this movie has above a lot of the other rom-coms, I adore the world building. I know it can feel a little stale towards the end, and it feels like you almost want them to go a little bit deeper, where they just kind of create the afterlife, the giant hotel lobby. But I loved that concept. I'm someone who spends a lot of time in hotel rooms, and their design of almost like an infinite hotel lobby, I was like, oh, I vibe with this. I know where we are. And then just kind of creating the afterlife as internet spam. I just think that is hilarious. And I just loved that whole concept of this world that they're kind of building. And I think that just elevates the simplicity of the basic outline of, like I said, three hot people trying to choose how they want to spend eternity, right? That's essentially the concept of the movie, but it's that expansion. It's all the added layers that they have on top of that, of what the afterlife could look like, and just the way that they kind of create that. I think it really sets it apart and it makes it feel really fresh and really new. And it kind of buries some of that predictability underneath a lot of these things that do feel fun and do feel really unique and special. And while I predicted the ending, I was pretty confident that that's what would happen. The scene that genuinely broke me is actually right around what we're talking about, right around where she's going to go off with her friend. And I know this is something that you love, Thomas, but Larry changes. Larry has a character arc. He comes in and realizes that the only thing that's really going to make him happy isn't spending all of eternity on a beach. It's just making sure that the love of his life is happy. That's all that matters to him. And that just listen, I don't care how many layers of ice I have on this icebox art. That just melted it like a beach sun. And the waterworks just started, it just got me. And I knew it was going to happen. And it just it crushed me, and I was this movie for they had me, and you know we're talking. There's like maybe 20 minutes left after that point, but
Mm-hmm.
man, I wasn't going anywhere. Locked in on that part. So yeah, I think I think they just make a lot of really smart choices, and you know, again, it's how the movie goes about what it's trying to do, and I think some of that world building really adds to it. I know I complimented Divine Joy Randolph, and I think her and Jake Earl. Those two just add such a great kind of sidekick energy to it, but they're so funny.
Yeah.
They're so good together. They're so good with Joan and Larry. And I'm blanking on Callum Turner's name in the Luke. Sorry.
Luke, yeah.
They have just immense chemistry in that sidekick role that all rom-coms kind of have, but they are just lightning bolts, man. They are so funny in this movie. And yeah, I just think there's I think I had said this in my review, but like this movie is so hopelessly romantic, and it just kind of makes you get in your feels more than others and more than most. And so I think those things really added to making this movie much better and much more effective for me.
Yeah, Shawn, what about you? What really stood out to you in this movie?
To me, what really stood out, this might be like a very basic answer, but the concept. I love the concept. It's so unique. And because it is a rom-com, it's exactly what Derrick said before about how the way it goes about it. Because you just don't know what's gonna happen, because I've just personally never seen a movie like this. So I just did not know what more they could talk about or show. And they both have such compelling arguments for spending eternity with her. At one point, you're like, well, it's obvious it's going to be Luke because they did not have a life together. But then, you know, Miles Teller's character also has like really good points, and it's just that makes the best type of rom-com, where, like you said before, Thomas, where clearly there's one person that the person should be with, but in this movie, you really can make there are great arguments for both. So you're really going with Joan, deciding which one like should she go with. It's not like it's team John, or it's not team Miles Teller or team Callum Turner. I think that's like a really good part about this movie, where there's no right answer. I think that's like one of the best parts about it. So that was it for me. Just the world and what it was, showing how the afterlife works for them, going through memories. Like, I just think Miles Teller has such a good argument at first because you know more about him, but then when they go through those memories and you see the last time that Elizabeth Olsen and Callum Turner are with each other, their characters, you're like, oh my god, like how can you not want them to be together now? Like it really, they just do all these little things, unique things that just keep you wondering who it's going to be, because it's not obvious. It's really not at first.
Yeah, no, I totally.
I was going to say, I think to your point too, Shawn, is there's no villain here.
No,
totally,
right? And that's something that a lot of rom-coms do. And again, J-Lo is a huge offender of this. But in most of your standard rom-coms, when you have to make an impossible choice, you're just choosing between what's normal and what you should actually do. Right? You're choosing between a deadbeat, a shitty boyfriend, a horrible husband, whatever, right? You're never choosing between two people who are just human. They're just human with flaws, and they both made mistakes, but they're both. You could spend eternity with either one.
No. Luke was perfect.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Luke was perfect.
I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting. Luke was perfect. That's right.
They sabotage each other. They physically fight each other, and then Elizabeth Olsen gets pissed off, and it's like nobody was wrong in what happened, because they all just want to spend eternity with a specific person, and it really does place all these blocks perfectly to make you not root against anybody. I really can't see. You may prefer somebody over another one, but I don't think you can be like, no, this person is definitively better for Elizabeth Olsen's character. You can't do that here, and that's what makes the best type of rom-com. Like, you're absolutely right, and it's a shame that those movies that have the obvious correct answer and are predictable are the ones that get watched by millions of people on Hallmark
Right.
every year. And then a movie like this has the ability to also go to theaters, which is just very fortunate. A24, I'm so happy that they picked it up and distributed it, but I'm just hoping it finds a second life somewhere. I hope Netflix gets it and people get to watch it, because
Yeah,
it's a
probably
phenomenal
probably
rom.
Apple TV since
Is
it's
it Apple TV
A24.
and
Well,
A24?
it's A24, and so I imagine Apple TV
Hmm,
would be the one it goes to,
that's a good
which is
point.
unfortunate because I don't know if a whole
Yeah,
lot of people
nobody
subscribe to
has
that.
Apple TV.
Right. But the thing that really gets me about this movie is that I think about this movie more than it asks me to.
Hmm,
Because there's a lot that happens in this movie that I think layers below, right? Um, so Luke's perfect. We've established that, right? But Miles Teller, I actually, so you mentioned that there are no villains in this movie, which is true. Miles Teller, Larry might actually be an anti-hero because he is so flawed and so imperfect that it's, it lends credence to why she should be with Luke. The things that he does, he can be manipulative, kind of intentionally manipulative. The whole reason they got married was because he kind of admits to using that the doc to kind of work in his favor in proposing.
mhm,
So you have that, you have him sneaking into Luke's room to find incriminating evidence, which apparently he's also guilty of. He is a very, very imperfect person, a very flawed person. So flawed, I might actually call him an anti-hero. But what I also think is that we didn't Joan didn't have long enough time to live with Luke to figure out his imperfections.
mhm,
And so when you're in this afterlife, you have this person that you spent, was it 60 years with, where you acclimated to their imperfections and you learned how to um, you know, deal with that. And then the flashback scenes there, sorry, when she's trying to escape, there are like negative memories of them fighting and stuff. Like 60 years, you have time to work through that and figure out what you are and aren't willing to tolerate. And Joan just never had that opportunity with Luke, and that's why we think he's perfect. We haven't seen his flaws, we haven't seen his imperfections. And on top of that, so this is the point that my husband made, is that Luke is the same when he died, or when in this movie as he was when 60 years ago. But Joan has evolved. Joan has
Mhm.
grown. Joan has built a life. She had kids and grandkids, and even in what we find out is that even once she goes to try to build this life with Luke, she's not the same person that she was back then. And I don't think the movie explicitly says that. It just says she made the wrong choice. But like these are the levels I'm thinking about this movie on, guys. Like I
Yeah.
am like 7, 8 layers deep into this movie, and the movie doesn't even ask you to do that. But it leaves the pieces there for you to kind of piece together and to kind of like examine and analyze and think about and just live on the top of your brain if like the longevity of relationships is something that you think about. I digress.
No, not at
That's
all.
my point.
I think that's all. I think that's all in there in the subtext, and
um
I think a lot of what we kind of already talked about, right? Where this movie is really affirming the life that you have with someone, and
mhm,
who is the person that you can argue with in the car? Who is
mhm,
the person that you raised your children with? Who is the person that you have these memories and have shared all of these experiences with? That's the person and like you said, right? Like it's been 60 years. So she is a different person, but she's a different person because of Larry, and Larry is a different person because of her, and they're different people together. And so yeah, you can imagine a different life. You can pretend that you want to live the life you had in your 20s, but you're not. You're in your 80s now, and you're not the same person. And so focusing on regret rather than focusing on what's really important and all the small things of life, I think that's something that's really, I think that's in there. I really do.
mhm.
the scene, so yeah, you mentioned the scene where Larry realizes and grows and like tells, figures out that what will make him happy is making Joan happy. That scene did get me. But also when she decides she made the wrong choice and has to escape and they go back to the bar and he is still there, I lost my collective shit over that scene. Because again, they don't say it, but the subtext is he isn't willing to go on into an eternity without her, even if there's no chance of going on to an eternity without her. I Waterworks. Like every time that, like both times I've watched this movie, they get back to the bar where Larry is working, and I just am an uncontrollable mess because it is such a subtle way to get that point across without having to over explain, without having to really like break it down. And no, like he's still at the bar. There is, according to the rules of this place, there is no chance he can go to eternity with her, but he won't go into eternity without her.
Yeah.
He waited.
I'd rather wait for all eternity than spend eternity without someone, and that is like,
oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. We're cooking, guys.
I know, right?
We're cooking in this rom-com kitchen.
This is good. I remember having this kind of conversation when Past Lives came out with the rolling tape. I want movies that do this to me, that really make me like think about and really appreciate the subtleties of what it's saying when it comes to relationships. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the cast. So we mentioned Divine Joy already, and let's go ahead and start there. I think the supporting cast does some really incredible heavy lifting with the comedy. So let's talk about supporting cast real quick. Shawn, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, no, I can't wait to talk about this cast because we've already talked about Divine Joy Randolph and John Early, and this movie gets very heavy. There's a lot of stuff going on because it's dealing with love, death, but these two are just so funny and bring the perfect amount of comedy to these serious situations where they're all fighting and they just have a quick quip to say. Like, I haven't seen it since TIFF, and if there are any specific lines, please remind me of them. But I just remember there being these intense scenes in one of their bedrooms. I think it was Joan's, and they're just. It's not even that funny sometimes. What they're saying isn't funny, but the delivery, the deadpan delivery of like, no, like she's right or what. It's like, you know what I'm talking about. And
yes, there's definitely deadpan delivery for sure.
One of my favorite examples of that is when she first gets there and they're in his hotel room. They're in Larry's room. I don't know why I call it a hotel room. They're in Larry's room, and she's all flustered and she's all frustrated. And he's like, "Oh, you should just do squats."
Oh, that was great.
And that whole idea of, because even though they look like the best versions of themselves, they are still old. Like they have still lived. They're still in their 80s. And so this idea that they can squat down with fresh knees being like one of the cool, and then her, like Elizabeth Olsen's face and her excitement of being able to squat without her hips hurting. It's that kind of stuff where it's like, yeah, that's kind of funny, but it's funnier because of how deadpan they deliver it and how earnest they are about how incredible it is that their legs work now and their knees can work and they can do squats as something to relax. It's just, I don't know. To me, that's just hilarious. That's the kind of stuff I think you're talking about.
That was funny. Like also, when Larry is trying to win her over and he sees the poster of the crooner and he tells Divine Joy's character, Anna, he's like, hey, this is her favorite. She's going to love this. Trust me. And so the crooner comes. And I mean, the crooner is already hilarious because it's not the actual person. This dude's an alcoholic. He has serious alcohol issues and he can't perform. And so Larry is trying to talk to Anna and saying like, who is this? What is this? And she's like, well, this is the dude. And he's like, no, this is not the dude. Well, yeah, he's an impersonator. Well, why didn't you tell me that? Well, I thought you knew. I was really confused at why you were so excited about this. But now that you say that, I get it.
So good. It's like,
yeah, lots of little scenes like that. And this is so many of them throughout the movie.
Yeah.
So sorry, Shawn, I cut you off.
No, all good. Should we go into the main cast now? I feel like we said
yes. The main cast. Cast. Let's go.
Elizabeth Olsen. Where I don't know where to start with her. She is still to this day one of the most underrated actresses in Hollywood. Everyone knows there's Wanda Maximoff, which she is phenomenal in. Like, she is a big reason why Scarlet Witch started off as a whatever character, and has slowly become a beloved fan favorite that had her own show that was Emmy nominated. I really think a lot of that's all of it's on her, really. She's such a likable person, a likable actress that no matter what she's doing, puts so much into everything. And she has slowly become like the queen of TIFF. She had his three daughters in 2023, which
God,
was
she's
an
so
amazing
fucking
movie,
incredible
incredibly
in that
heartbreaking.
movie.
Like that was an amazing movie. She
You
had
want, you
the
want to talk about waterworks? Jesus Christ!
yeah, oh my god. Like watch his three daughters if you haven't, honestly.
It's on
That's
Netflix.
an amazing movie. The Assessment, which
Mhm.
I really enjoy. I do. I know
One of my
people that-
favorite movies of the year. I don't care.
there are people that are big fans of that
Fight
movie,
me.
and it is a good movie. And then this year with Eternity, like she is having a great career, Marvel and non-Marvel. Like she's really branching out and doing all this great stuff and picking these projects that really give her a lot to do and show her range as an actress that have these great concepts. And I just can't wait to see what she does next. And she's amazing in this movie. I really have nothing bad to say about her. She's
There
just
is
a
nothing. There is nothing bad to say about her. She,
no.
in fact, in my opinion, she is one of the biggest reasons this movie works so well for me. The comedy is a big part. That was excellently executed, of course, by the supporting cast and among the trio. But it's her devastation that sells this movie. She is so good at being like at feeling all the emotions that this kind of scenario that someone would feel in this kind of scenario, and you believe it. Oh my gosh, when she's just like having these panic attacks because she just can't figure out what to do, it's so convincing, it's so believable. She is incredible in this movie. I wish this movie was going up for award contention. It's a crowded field this year, but like man,
I mean,
I would
yeah,
absolutely nominate her.
Indie Spirits, maybe. Like I could
Maybe
definitely see that.
maybe absolutely. Yeah, loved Elizabeth Olsen in this movie. Derrick.
Yeah, everything you guys said and more. I think her and the supporting cast really do a lot of the heavy lifting. I don't have any knocks on Callum Turner except for the fact that he's dating my wife Dua Lipa.
Okay, well,
I mean, you know,
we're gonna get to this.
gotta knock some points down for that.
Oh boy,
But
yeah.
like your life is so hard, bro. But yeah, so Callum Turner and Miles Teller are both perfectly fine. And again, it's not a knock on them, but they are the most generic characters in the movie. And I think that you could replace them with pretty much any hot guys and the movie would kind of function the same. Now, the same cannot be said for Elizabeth Olsen's character, for Joan, because Olsen is one of the few people that can overcome all of that and really sell this movie. And I think that she is just absolutely phenomenal. She's the best performer of that entire family. And she is best when she does stuff like this. And I've always, I said this to Nia DaCosta's face too, because when I met her, I was like, and I wrote it in my review and I told her straight up, like, I'm very excited for the shackles of Marvel to come off of you, because what you can do outside of it is something like Hedda. And I think the same thing applies to Elizabeth Olsen. When I get why you have to do it, and I get that it has launched you into a superstardom and it allows you to be a little bit more selective about your projects, but she is so much better when she's not doing Marvel. Because anything I've ever seen her in that's not Marvel, I'm just like, what? How does she not have like 9 statues already? Like, give her the Oscars. She's so good, and I think this movie is another just incredible choice. And she is excellent in this movie. She shoulders so much of it. She carries it through. She makes both of the men better. I think she brings out the best in Callum Turner, who I'm not really that big a fan of. He's just kind of one of those, I'm tall and I'm hot and people like me. And that's just kind of, I'm just not a big fan of the work that he does in general. But she makes him elevate his game. She makes Miles Teller elevate his game. And then they're surrounded by these two just sidekick comedic powerhouses that are also like, you're not allowed to be a weak link when you're surrounded by people that understand the assignment and are like going all in. And I think that just rounds out everybody and makes the cast all excellent in for that. So yeah.
Totally. You know what I realized is that I'm familiar with Callum Turner, but I can't remember who I was talking with. But they were like, I'm not sure who Callum Turner is. And I was like, wait, what has he been in? And then I had to go look, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't think anyone's really seen him in the mainstream since Green Room. I know he did Emma, which I forgot, kind of forgot about. He was in Fantastic Beasts, which nobody cared about.
Yeah.
The Boys in the Boat, which
Nobody saw.
again nobody saw. And then he did kind of make a splash at Sundance when he had the Atropia and Rose of Nevada, but nobody has seen those. So I didn't have to
I mean,
realize.
I have, and
Oh,
neither
okay.
one are good. So
Yeah.
heads
And
up.
so it seems like Eternity. I mean, I don't know how much we want to call it a breakout role, but I think this is like the most mainstream movie he's had in a very long time. And it's only dawning on me just now, like, oh yeah, people don't really know who Callum Turner is.
Yeah.
So
they know who Dua Lipa is.
that's true.
Yeah, I think this is the most I've seen him do in a movie, because even in Fantastic Beasts, he's Newt's brother, so it's still not even a big role, and I don't remember him in those movies at all. If I remember those movies in general, I think he was a lead in Masters of the Air with Austin Butler, but again,
Right.
that's Apple TV. Nobody watched it. Yeah, he is really good in this movie. I would say he's the weakest out of the three, but that's not an insult to him because they're just so strong. I want to see more from him. I really do. Just makes me excited to see what else he can do, because I definitely see the potential, and maybe I just need to see more from him and his past work. But I just hope to see more in general. I don't know what he has lined up, but I wouldn't be complaining if I was Callum Turner in general, honestly.
Oh, right. You guys are funny. Yeah, no, I think I would agree that he's probably the weakest link of the three. I think with Miles Teller, he's given a little bit more to do because he doesn't have to act like himself. I think Callum Turner just kind of acts like himself, right?
Yeah.
He's just the tall, hot white guy, right? Like, cool. It's, and like Derrick said, you're entirely right. Elizabeth Olsen elevates everybody here. But I do think Miles Teller, he gets to kind of be that old grouchy man. There's a little bit of a character that he has to put on in this movie that I think he pulls off pretty well. So yeah. Yeah, but ultimately it all comes down to Elizabeth Olsen in that trio. She really just makes everything come together really, really well. So
yeah, and I feel bad to like knock Callum Turner so much. I just don't think he's done enough. And I think with stuff like Atropia and Rose of Nevada, both movies that don't really work for me. I don't think they're that good, but he is trying something. I mean, Atropia is a very strange movie, but he is also just the hot soldier. But in Rose of Nevada, I mean, partnering with somebody that does very nonlinear storytelling and kind of keeps things at arm's length and keep things very ambiguous. Like he's clearly trying to break out of this particular role that he's playing in Eternity. So I don't really fault him, because he is just supposed to be the object of affection. And so while this movie does try to add more depth to all of their characters, he's the one that needs the least, because he really is just supposed to be the hot guy you never got to spend your life with. Like that's his character arc. And okay, well, yeah, if you're gonna do anybody, he's not a bad choice to put into that role. So
I don't know where I'm going with this line of thinking, but for some reason, I spent a while kind of mixing up Callum Turner and Josh O'Connor.
Cannot be more different, like career-wise.
Right, and maybe that's what I'm getting at, is that because they both were actually in Emma.
Yeah.
They both were in Emma, playing the same role. I don't know. I didn't see Emma. But
listen, I will tell you, goofy white guys are having a banger decade. Like they are thriving right now. Goofy white guys with big giant ears and brown hair. They are talk of the town across the board. Everyone loves them.
Right, but I guess I wonder if he is trying to spread his wings and do more compelling stuff. Could he hold one of the roles that Josh O'Connor has had? I don't know. Josh O'Connor
like really came out of his breakout was The Crown. which is
Mhm.
phenomenal, and I highly recommend if you haven't seen it. And then he just got a bunch of stuff. He's worked with. It's really who you work with. Like Josh
Mhm.
O'Connor has been picking great directors. I don't know if Callum Turner's been picking like I feel like he's just been picking generic products besides Eternity. Like a lot of the stuff is just very generic and passable, but ultimately forgettable.
Mhm.
Even the franchise that he had a part in, and it was Fantastic Beasts, and
Mhm.
that didn't do anybody involved in that franchise any favors. In fact, it hurt a lot of people. I've not seen any red name recover from that since.
Which is
Good. We don't
unfortunate
need it.
because right, which is unfortunate because I see the calculation, right? You get your blockbuster, you have your royalty checks for life, and
Yeah.
then you go into your projects. I mean, Lighthouse, what's his name? Edward Cullen. Why
Oh,
am I
Robert
spacing
Oh,
on his-
Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
Pattinson, right? That's what he did with Twilight. I just went and watched Twilight again. I used to think like, oh yeah, this is an okay movie.
It
That
did take him
movie,
a while, though. It took
it,
Robert
it did.
Pattinson a while to really
Mhm.
find his footing, and he has. And Callum Turner is completely capable of doing the same thing. Josh
Mhm.
O'Connor has worked with, right? He just worked with Ryan Johnson, Kelly Reichardt, Luca Guadagnino. Like,
Right.
you have a resume of people, and if Callum Turner can just find the right projects with the right people behind them to really show himself to mainstream American and Canadian audiences, it's there. It's always
Mhm.
possible. He's a talented guy. We're not knocking his ability as an
Yeah.
actor. You got to find the right projects. And it took
Mhm.
Robert Pattinson probably close to almost a decade, I would say, to really start finding his footing and be taken seriously. I would say well, okay, last Twilight movie took good time. I guess that's like 5 years. I think it's like 5 years, 5, 6 years.
Mhm.
Maybe that will come. It'll come out. It might come out of nowhere. You never know. And again, Rob Pattinson, Safdie brothers.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
they
Right.
got up together basically.
Mhm.
So we'll have to see. I root for Callum Turner. I really do. So I
Yeah.
hope that whatever he has lined up is good.
I think you're right, Sean. I think it's a combination of both. I think Josh O'Connor chooses much more versatile uh, projects
Hmm.
because he works with a vast array of some of the best directors out there. Um, but Josh O'Connor is also, I think, a little bit more up to the challenge.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And I think not only does he experiment with versatility and the people that he works with, but like if you just look at his just most recent, I mean, dude, just look at his last 2 years,
Yeah.
and you've got not in any order, but just in the last like 2 years or so, you have Challengers, The History of Sound, La Chimera, The Mastermind, Knives Out, Wake Up Dead Man, um, and Rebuilding, all within like a 2 year span.
That's an insane resume.
It is an insane resume.
Especially
None
for
of
a
those
2-year
two
span.
movies, yeah,
Mhm.
in a 2 year span, none of those two movies are like the other. None
Mhm.
of them. Like they could not be more different from each other. And so I think not only does he select versatile projects, but he is also incredibly versatile. I don't think that Callum Turner has shown me that, and I don't think Eternity is the movie to really demonstrate that. He's pigeonholed on purpose because that's the nature of the character itself.
Hmm.
Um, so it's not to say that he's not talented, but to answer your original question, Thomas, no,
Mhm.
I don't think so. I think Josh O'Connor is on a record run right now, and uh I see an Oscar in his future at some point.
He has
Mhm.
he's leading the Steven Spielberg movie next year. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's
dude,
somehow getting better for him. That's insane.
yeah, yeah. That I need him to take a break though, because like he's gonna run himself dead,
He was in
and
4 movies this year alone.
which is insane.
Yeah.
That's just absolutely insane that he has four, and like they're not even necessarily all. The smallest one is Rebuilding, and that's the
Right.
Sundance movie,
Mhm.
and then all the rest of them are like, yeah, The History of Sound, The Mastermind, Wake Up Dead Man, and Rebuilding. Like
Which
that
he
is,
co-leads in. Like the past two Knives Out
yeah.
movies, I mean, they had Benoit Blanc, Daniel Craig, and then like a like secondary lead in Janelle Monáe and
Right.
Andre Armas. But you can make the argument that Josh O'Connor and Daniel Craig co-lead that movie
Oh,
equally.
100%.
They
Like,
absolutely do.
He
That's
is
true.
the movie. I know we're going to talk about it on a podcast
yes,
later, but
next
like
week.
he is the movie. Like this movie works amazing because of him.
Right.
Um, he's not an eternity, but I get why.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I diverted the conversation from
Sorry, it's
Eternity
because
to
of Joshua
Joshua
Connor,
Connor.
Look,
like-
I get it. I confuse my goofy white guys with big ears all the time. So totally understand how it threw you off track a little bit.
It's okay. I've gotten a lot more familiar with Joshua Connor that I can tell them apart
This was necessary.
now.
Yeah, I like Miles Teller too. I think Miles Teller operates in a very specific wavelength. He's got like a limited range, but that limited range that he has, whew, when he dials in,
Mhm.
he is awesome. And I think this movie allows him to kind of play within the things that he does best. He's a good fast talker. He's really good at kind of misreading and misrepresenting situations in the deliveries that he does, and I think it leads into a lot of the strengths of his deadpan delivery. And you see it a lot in Eternity, right? His conversations that he has, we were talking about with the lounge singer or whatever, conversation that he has, all the conversations he had with Divine Joy Randolph, they're having two different conversations every time they talk to each other.
Yeah.
And his ability to kind of maintain that all throughout their interactions, that's something that Miles Teller does extremely well, and he does it extremely well here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It is crazy how quickly this conversation went by. This is a good chat. Let's get final thoughts here and final ratings. Shawn, where did you land with the rating on Eternity?
I personally landed on a strong 7 because we didn't get into a lot, but I don't love the last 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like I see the ending it's a great ending. I just personally saw these steps to get there. It was too many, too convoluted. She chooses neither of them, which is predictable. I mean, I saw that coming from a mile away. Then she's with Callum Turner and she's happy at first, then she's not, and then she's like, I want to leave you, and he's like, no, I hate this, and then he's like, okay, fine, I'll help you. And then she goes and escapes, and then she gets to Miles Teller, and then they live happily ever after. I get the ending. I don't have a problem with it beyond just how convoluted and how many steps it took to get there personally. But what's interesting is that with a lot of the conversations that we have on this podcast, I find myself when we criticize these movies, I start liking them a bit less because we really pinpoint issues with them. But this is one of, if not the first one, where we're talking about this movie and I kind of liked it. Like I kind of have more respect for it and like it more. So I feel like if I were to rewatch it, I can't guarantee, but I could really see myself going like above in my rate. I could really go up in my rating. I could see it going to an 8, a 4 out of 5. So
Interesting.
Yeah. Our work here is done, Thomas.
Yes,
got
we
it.
did it. We did it.
really just reminding me of some of the stuff about it. I mean, Tiff is just not everything's going to stick
blur.
with you. And my issues with the movie still remain, but I think just talking about it in depth about the emotional impact of the movie and those moments like layering the bar, I think those would probably hit me a lot more if I were to rewatch it. So good job, guys.
Derrick, how about you? Where did you land on this one?
Yeah, this is a 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10 for me. This is just incredibly enjoyable. Like I said before, I am not the biggest rom-com fan. I just don't really care for the genre, but this one just did it for me. I love the world building. I love the concept. I love a lot of the characters, and I just think that there's like I said, right, there's just such an earnestness and such a hopeless romanticism that comes across in this movie. You can feel that the creators and the writers, like they love, and there's they're writing this with somebody important to them in mind. And I think those takeaways in how it ends, while sure it's predictable, and I'll agree with Shawn, I actually think the movie's a little too long. And I think you could speed run that final 30 minutes a little bit better, because it does start to kind of rinse and repeat, and it starts to get a little repetitive, especially in the last, I'd say, probably 40 minutes or so. But overall, I think this movie just works more than it doesn't, and I think it just taps into the right things. I think it has the right message, and I'm such a big proponent of films that cherish those little things. I know we kind of mentioned it, but like the small things that matter in life to me are what it feels like to go to the movies. To me, there's just such a magic when somebody just affirms that, yeah, you should really appreciate what you have. And I love that. I think that this movie does that. Another one of my favorites of the year is Train Dreams, and Train Dreams is very much about that. There is beauty in the mundane. There is beauty in just living life, and we are constantly surrounded by the worst of everything, and it's fed into us all the time. And so just getting something that's just so refreshing to look at it and look at your significant other or look at your family members or look at the accomplishment, whatever it is in your life, right? It's just a time to get that's Elizabeth Olsen calling, by the way.
Yeah. You hear me.
Yeah.
That's Dua Lipa calling. She's leaving Callum Turner.
Killing the game, Shawn. Killing the game.
Landline, man. We were so close. I was
we
like,
were.
oh,
We were almost there.
I got to turn up the volume on that thing. I'm sorry.
I love it. It's actually my favorite. I love just finding a new person to call you every single time. It's great.
Right.
You have to do it.
I love that. Wait, I love that you get so many calls. Like, how cool. I haven't been called this much like in this whole year.
The only person that calls me this much is Thomas to talk about what our next podcast is. But yeah, so those life affirming messages and those things of just really celebrating the life that you have. And yes, it's mushy, it's cliche, it's tropey, it's whatever you can laden whatever criticism you want on it. But that worked for me, and I really appreciate when films do that. And rom-coms don't do that very often, right? Like their rom-coms have a tendency to dive into the fantasy elements of it a little bit more, just like the fantasy of romance is really where it tends to lead you to. And this one doesn't do that. This one takes a very I'd say as fantastical as it gets, it takes a very grounded approach to what love is, to what relationships are, to what being with someone actually means. And yeah, that just got me. And I really, really appreciated that. And I wish more people would watch this movie because I do think it's a great date night movie. It's a great long-term relationship movie. It's just it's one of the better ones to come out of a tired genre. So
yeah, I unfortunately I don't think this is gonna be too successful in theaters, but I think forgive the pun, it is intentional. I think it's gonna have a good afterlife on DVD.
Hey,
there it is. Yep, this is one that I think we're gonna think about whenever the rom-com genre comes up in the future. And I think it'll be kind of a slow build. But as more and more people learn about it, we get away from Wicked a little bit. We get out of the holiday season, and people are just looking for a rom-com, and this falls into that rom-com genre, whatever streaming service it ends up on. I think that the interest will pick up steam, and this. I think that we can look back on this, in the future and say, yeah, this was one of those rom-coms that we can put in, like, our top 5, rom-coms that really stood out to us. It certainly is mine. Look, this is one of my favorite movies of the year, if I'm being honest. It has. I think I agree with the sentiment about the like last 20 minutes. I personally, because I don't care for catering to the mainstream, I might have extended the ending a little bit, because I think getting the escape is rushed. I think they realize they notice, like, okay, we can't be too repetitive. We have to keep it under a runtime. Let's just like hurry this along. When I think that there are probably themes that they could have explored when it came to changing that decision. Him waiting for her, and that there's a lot they could have done with that ending. But ultimately, like I said, if you do other things right, like the comedy, like the chemistry, like the performances, and this all this subtext that I got out of what they weren't saying, but just kind of presenting, I forgive that so quickly. As I wipe away tears, I forgive that so quickly. And I can say on second watch, it definitely holds up. It's still funny. It's still endearing and charming, and the performances still really make it worth watching repeatedly. And I think that's really important for a rom-com is rewatchability. Even when you know the ending, you can still watch this movie again and again and have a great time with it. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not one for ratings, but this, I would put this at like a 9 out of 10. Just something that I will likely have in my top 10 of the year. and we'll likely be talking about as a favorite rom-com alongside. You know, I mean, if we mention rom-coms uh, love triangles this year, obviously it'll be right alongside The Materialists, which I actually prefer this over The Materialists personally.
Same.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, oh man, and it's
I
such
know
a
we're
hard
not
thing.
allowed to say it, but I'm gonna
I
say
know
it. I'm with you.
It's
I
so
agree.
hard for me to say because I love Celine's song and I like The Materialists. I thought that it was entertaining. But yeah, as far as love triangles, I think Eternity did it in a way that really impacted me a lot better. So yeah, that's where I landed. To wrap this up, I'm gonna put y'all on the spot. What is your eternity?
Oh, oh no.
Marxist land?
Some of
What
those
about
failed lands are so good.
what about
So
Germany
funny.
with 100% less Nazis?
Yeah. What do you, Shawn? I'm gonna make you go first. I'm sorry.
Okay. Whew. Honestly, the idea of eternity itself is just so compelling to me because I have all the time in the world to watch all the movies I want, play all the games I want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I can't pick Dua Lipa, I hope I find somebody that can I can spend eternity with.
You'll be
Hey,
fine.
look,
Just call her back. It's okay. Just call her back. It's fine.
Call her back on
I
that
will-
landline, okay? She wants me so bad. It's insane.
I will watch the Love Triangle movie where Shawn fights Callum Turner for Dua Lipa. I would watch that movie.
It's the exact same movie, but Elizabeth Olsen is now Dua Lipa, and I'm Miles Teller, and it's
Right.
everything else is the exact same. Okay,
I'm ready for eternity too. I'm ready for it, Shawn.
You only say that because you know Miles Teller won at the end. So
yes, exactly. And look who we got. Okay, he got who he wanted. Okay, I wish them all the best. I really do.
Right.
I do.
Okay.
They're happy. I'm happy. Yeah. Yeah. I look. I'm on the younger side. We're not gonna get too deep into that, but I think just spending eternity with someone you love and you can just be with, and that's who you want to be with. I think that's enough for me. I mean, I think we all know that relationships aren't perfect. You're gonna bicker, like you guys talked about. There's gonna be problems, but when you find that person that you can do all that with, but still come home at the end of the day and still want to be with more than anything, I think that's beautiful. And I think that's what I think that's what a lot of people really want. And I think that's something I want. So, that sounds like eternity to me. Just being able to watch movies and my passions, being able to experience them with someone beside me, I guess. That's very deep, but it's the truth.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
All right, Derrick, top that.
I won't. I'm not even going to, and I'm actually going to cheat, and I'm just going to be in the cabin next to Shawn because that sounds amazing.
Okay, yeah, I'll be there too, and we can continue podcasting.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Are you? Come on, for me, I've done all the things you're supposed to do in your 20s, right? I've done them all, so I don't give a shit about that. I don't have any regrets. I mean, I do, but that's not the point. I would very much love for all of eternity to just be able to spend the time with my loved ones, with my significant other, and bicker and fight about stuff that doesn't matter till the end of time. Like that's I'm perfectly fine with that. That's a great eternity, and there just has to be movies, man. Just give me an eternity of movies, and yes. I have unlimited access to everything. And however, I want zero restrictions on the formats. So if something is made in 35 millimeter, I get to see it in 35 millimeter whenever I want. 70 millimeter, IMAX, floor to ceiling. Like, let's fucking go. Whatever, however it's meant to be viewed, that is how I need to have access to the movie. Please do not give me a DVD of a 4K Blu-ray. I don't want it. I don't do that. So that is how I want it.
Well, I want Tiffland, where I get TIFF movies all the time, and it comes with the stress of buying tickets because that's the only way to feel alive is fighting people for tickets.
Like that you want to keep that. Like you don't have to, but you want to keep it. You
In
want the
fact,
stress and anxiety of going through the ticketing process.
specifically needs to be Ticketmaster. Okay.
Oh my god.
That's
That is hell on earth. What are you talking about?
I am so kidding. That actually is hell for sure.
That is very funny.
like imagine just going onto his website and be like, yeah, you can have it. You want it?
You can-
Here.
Yeah,
Don't worry
right.
about it.
Yeah, right.
I would almost buy that as long as at some point you actually do end up getting the ticket that you want.
That's
but you
true.
do still you win in the end, but you do still have to fight it, and you do still have to go through the process, and you still have to plan, and you still have to schedule, but you won't ever actually miss anything.
Right, and high blood pressure isn't a problem after in the afterlife.
Yeah,
you know,
and you can watch 6 movies every day because you don't get tired. Maybe I don't know. Like that's
Right,
just an
that
option.
too.
Like to just get through like 24/7.
You know,
24
there's
full-
something
full 10
here.
days.
My actual answer was Hawaii land. I don't like going to Hawaii because it's expensive, but Cody likes going to Hawaii, and I don't mind sun and sand. So like Hawaii land for sure.
That sounds
But
nice.
my joke answer
There's
is
too many people there, though. That's what
That's
we
a good
learned
point.
in Eternity.
That
is
is a
when you
good
go to
point.
Beach World and you go to Beach Eternity, everyone else has the same idea.
Yeah.
So
it
I
has
think
to
you
be
guys are onto this. I think
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna blend all the answers, right?
Okay.
My Eternity is Film Festival Eternity.
Film
And
Festival
I
Eternity.
just year round, it's just a different festival so I got to start at Sundance.
Yep.
I gotta do them all. I gotta knock
Yep.
them all out, and I still have to
Sundance,
schedule
South
everything.
by,
But I still
and
get unlimited access. I still get
Hell
to
yeah.
see everything. And I still get to watch movies in the format that they're in. And of course, my significant other is with me. And so when we want to go to Paris or we want to go to France for Cannes, we're gonna go. There's an eternity
And
for
it
that
costs
too.
nothing.
So yeah, it costs nothing.
That
We're
sounds
good.
amazing.
Yeah.
There we go. That's
Yeah.
the official answer. Good job bringing that home.
That's how you know we are insane. That we
Yes.
would like to spend eternity.
Movies and film festivals.
land.
Wouldn't
Yes.
have it any other way.
That is a psychopath answer, but I'm sticking with it.
Oh my goodness. Good stuff. Guys, thank you for this conversation on Eternity. We are going to be back next week. I think we're talking about Hamnet next week, but there is a conversation about another TIFF, darling.
You want to talk about tears?
Yeah, I guess I'm just lining up the movies that I cried on.
Yeah, right.
So we're gonna do that next week, and thank you for tuning in. We will catch you next week for that conversation. See you guys then.